Hello, my friends, and welcome to the latest spin. I'm Mike Spinner, Student Athlete World USA, Thursday, January 30th, 8 p.m. What else is there to be doing on a Thursday night but hanging out with me? As always, 203-518-8408 is the cell. You can text me any questions you have about Student Athlete World or tours or program or about myself. You can put it in the chat as well. The chat is open. And this week, Tim is on the road. So when the cat's away, the rats will play. Tim is probably going to see this for a couple of days. He is expanding the Student Athlete World empire as we speak. So I'm completely on my own tonight. I could say whatever it is I want, which of course will be not too different than what I normally say. So, Tim, I hope you're having some good and safe travels. And again, any questions about our tours or company, put it in the chat or text me at 203-518-8408. So we're going to start tonight on a little bit of a melancholy kind of note. Last night, late, there was a tragedy in Washington, D.C. Involving an airplane that had some young athletes on it. And, as many of you know, based on my own family, we're part of the ice hockey community, which is kind of like a cousin of the figure skating community that was greatly impacted by last night's tragedy. And it's a very sad and terrible thing. And just obviously as a lifelong or career-long coach, someone whose passion in this world is working with young athletes, my heart goes out, our thoughts and prayers to everyone impacted either directly or indirectly by this tragedy. The families of those involved, the figure skating community. These are a bunch of kids who are trying to live out their dreams in sports, coming home from a competition. And it's just so devastating to even think about, what has happened. Because, I've spent the last 26 years working with young kids trying to reach their athletic dreams. So, you can almost feel for the community and what they're going through. And my only hope is that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, and I certainly am not going to wax politics on my show, but no matter what side of the aisle you're on, there's an adult in the room who stands up and just says, a lot of people are hurting right now. And this is a tragedy. This is not about who's to blame. This is about coming together and expressing our grief and sadness and prayers and, at some point making sure something like this never happens again. But for now, doing what we can to comfort those in this community. I know a lot of people in the figure skating community through ice hockey. And as much as this may not have directly impacted them, it is still a tragedy in their community. So enough bringing the house down, just all the thoughts and well wishes in the world to those impacted by this tragedy. But moving on to us and what we do and why we're here, we're certainly now entering the home stretch of rostering, and a couple of our tours have closed out already, a couple of our rosters, and some of them are looking for more athletes. So if you're watching this and you're part of the show tonight, we have some viewers, which I'm excited about. Don't hesitate. Go to studentathleteworld.com and get that application finished, because our rosters are filling quickly. Every day, I'm getting more and more phone calls and emails and text messages about joining us. So we're looking at a huge summer coming up. I'm really excited. The Canada announcement from last week, we're not quite there yet, but certainly we are getting there. And a question I've been getting this week, we've had a ton of interviews the last couple of weeks, and we're now kind of getting into the more specific tour related questions. And a question I've been getting a lot of is about spending money. That's a very fair question, but it's one that, now that we're well into the new year and kind of touring season is not terribly far ahead of us, believe it or not, I'm starting to get those questions. Mike, how much spending money do I pack, or do I prepare for, what am I going to have to spend money on, et cetera, et cetera. So let me just kind of walk you through this a little bit, because that is a question that I often have a difficult time answering, just because everyone is so much different. As Tim likes to say, he has seen kids spend $200 at the airport, the duty-free shop, which, if you ask me, duty-free is a scam, but I'm not going to go into that. That's not what this show is for. But hey, I'm going to buy that 20-pound bar of chocolate for $600 and eat snack on that in the airplane kind of thing. So it's hard to put a dollar figure on what it is you should prepare to spend. Okay, I equate our tours to what you spend out of pocket after a vacation begins. So, as you know, our tours include your international flight, your hotels, meals, transportation, excursion costs, etc. And when you go on vacation, a lot of the times you have paid off these expenses before your vacation. But once you're on vacation, there's extra snacks and desserts. There's waters, there's t-shirts, and there are hoodies and things like that. And here's the thing, everybody's different. Like, I'm going to be at the United World Games this year, so we'll be in Vienna. We'll be in Munich. we'll go up to Venice, and we'll be at the United World Games itself. There's a lot of t-shirt and hoodie opportunities in there. I, for one, will likely not buy a single article of clothing for myself. For my child, completely different story. He'll actually be competing. So what I advise you to do is to kind of do some introspective as to, if you're going just as an athlete or if you're bringing your whole family, what are the things your family are used to purchasing when you take any trip? Okay. If you have the kind of family that, you're going to eat 4 and 5 meals in a given day, be prepared to buy some extra food. For the athletes, be prepared to buy extra water. You can never hydrate enough, right? And so be prepared to remain hydrated. If you're the type that you need a memento from every place that you go, again, United World Games is one example. 3 different major cities we're visiting. Plus, there's the event itself, the United World Games, and they have a sales area for T-shirts and for other goodies. All of our tours, the competition will have something you can buy pretty much. So instead of putting a dollar figure on what you should prepare to spend, one big piece of advice I want to give you is see if you have a credit card that will work in the country that you're visiting. So, like, I know when I go to Europe, I have one credit card, that personal credit card of mine, that works. Plus, I try to steal Tim's and take it, and he'll never know, of course. But anyway, just kidding. But I have a credit card of mine that will work anywhere I go in Europe. I personally prefer to use the credit card because it seems like you get a better exchange rate when you use a credit card. That's just been my experience. My experience has been, I'll buy some things on a tour, and I've only done European tours so far. It could change if I'm ever sent to Costa Rica, which is what I really want to do. But I know that in my mind, I've spent X amount of money. And then by the time I got home and saw my credit card bill, I noticed I spent actually a lot less than that, because however the conversion rate worked using my credit card, I got a better price. It's just how it worked out on my tours. So it is a big piece of advice for me to, to find out if you have a credit card that works. And then, honestly, there's nothing wrong with packing a couple $100 just to have with you, and with the idea that you don't spend all of it. Because I have not in Europe, at least in Europe, come across many places that only accept cash. I've been able to use my credit card. I can't think of a time I couldn't use my credit card. But if your mindset is, I'm going to want the T-shirts and the hoodies, I'm going to want a lot of extra waters and snacks and stuff, and other trinkets and mementos to bring home, pack a couple $100 like you would normally do for a trip, exchange little bits at a time, and spend that way. Do you need $500 to go on a tour for something major, like you're coming home with a new car? Not that $500 gets you a new car, but no. I went on a tour once of Australia many, many years ago, back when UGG boots were all the rage. I don't even know if they are now, but UGG boots are from Australia, and it was with a women's lacrosse team, and they all bought, some of them, 4 and 5 pairs of UGG boots to bring home with them because it's a lot cheaper in Australia. And I thought they were out of their minds, but they spent hundreds of dollars on UGG boots, so they have to spend thousands of dollars on UGG boots at home. So, I hope you get the point, but the point is, think about you as a traveler and what you normally spend money on wherever you go, and prepare to do something similar on our tour. And I think that is the best way to do it. But for me to put a dollar figure on what you should expect to spend, I don't know any of you well enough. What I will say also, there's a question about, hey, dollars converting to euros if I go, on a European tour or to Costa Rica, Argentina, the currency that they have there. We go to populated enough areas to find a place to convert dollars over, because a lot of places we visit will not accept American dollars. We don't necessarily get there immediately. So what I do on any tour is I will convert a little bit at the airport. The airports kill you on the exchange rate and fees and stuff. So if you're bringing $100 American with you, don't convert $100 American at the airport. And I tell every traveler who asks about this that you'll lose money that way. Convert like $20. Have a little bit of the local currency with you just in case you need it, and then do the rest while we're there. You will do much better on your exchange while we're there. And we do make it a point to try to find you an exchange place wherever we go. It's like United World Games, we're landing in Vienna. Vienna's a big enough city, you'll find places to exchange. Spain, Portugal, day 1, day 2, day 2, day 3, you're in Seville, right near the cathedral. There are a couple of different exchange places. I know that as a fact. Pyrenees Basketball Cup, Barcelona, Spain, there will be exchange places. So finding places to exchange American dollars for euros should not be an issue on any one of our tours. It may not be day 1, so have some euros ready with you, but don't go crazy with that. And our other tours as well, we will help you with that process. So I hope this clears up spending money. Ultimately, do you need a ton of spending money? The answer is only if you plan on spending lots of money. All right. And I'm sorry if I can't get more specific, but again, everyone is different. If your plan is to buy, 3 t-shirts and 5 hoodies every place you go, that is going to cost you a lot of money. If your plan is just to have extra waters and snacks and things for your hotel room at night, then you don't need to spend a lot of money. And it's just common sense at that point. But the credit card thing, I think, is a really good thing. Just to reiterate, I think it's worth the phone call, because then you also have a bit of fail-safe. If you find something you really want to buy, you have a credit card that works. So I hope this helps. Have questions about it, you know where to find me. Email me, mike@studentathleteworld.com. My cell is 203-518-8408. And now we are on to What in the World. And What in the World is brought to you by the National Football League, our biggest sponsor yet. Welcome aboard to the NFL. And why not? We have the Super Bowl coming up, right? We have one football game left, and it's the long off season. Or as a New York Giants fan, it's been a long off season since sometime in September. But as any of you who have interacted with me through this show or through our interview process, I just love football. And the fact that football season will end in less than 2 weeks is so depressing. This time of year, the spring, as a sports fan for me, starts to get really depressing, because when you think about it, you hit February. Hockey season and the NBA season are kind of in the home stretch, college basketball as well. Football is going to be over. I have nothing against baseball. I personally really enjoy baseball. But we're getting to that point where baseball is like the big deal. And I'm a big New York Mets fan. I'm a huge New York Mets fan. And it's been a great offseason for the Mets. And hopefully they'll re-sign Pete Alonso and make it even better. But my favorite time of year is that point in like October when all the major sports are going at the same time. Baseball playoffs, beginning of football season, basketball season, hockey season. That's my favorite time of year. And on the flip side, I really don't like it as we approach the spring. As much as it's lacrosse season, which is one of my favorite seasons, it's just all the sports are coming to an end, and it's sad. And so for the NFL, welcome aboard as a sponsor. Just I wish your season went longer and longer, because I love football, and we only have one game to go. Next Thursday, for the latest spin, we'll do our Super Bowl special for What in the World. For this week, a lot of people have brought up the name Saquon Barkley to me. Of course, breaks my heart just a little bit. Saquon, former New York Giant, Saquon Barkley has been nothing but spectacular for the Philadelphia Eagles and has led them to the Super Bowl. I'm not giving any predictions quite yet. I'll wait till next Thursday. But it's like, how's it feel? How's it feel? How's it feel? I have one big thought about Saquon Barkley with what he's done with the Eagles, and that's this. And he did his best for the Giants, but here's my thing with Saquon. Heads right now should be rolling with the New York Giants because of Saquon Barkley, not because they let him walk. All right, for a running back who was as injured as Saquon was for the Giants, that was a lot of money that he asked for. And so I kind of understood them letting him walk. All right, I got it. My issue is this. How has Saquon Barkley looked this good for the Philadelphia Eagles and never looked nearly this good for the New York Giants, even at his best? He is a different player with the Eagles. And you can't say it's because he's with a competent quarterback when the Giants never had one. I'll be honest. I do not think Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback for the Eagles. Okay. He is not the reason why they're in the Super Bowl. He's a great manager. He doesn't turn the ball over. He hits open men. He makes the right looks. But is Jalen Hurts a superstar quarterback? My answer is no. Okay. I believe he might be the third best quarterback in the NFC East. Now, I'm not a Dak Prescott fan, but I do think Dak is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. But so without having a stud quarterback, Saquon Barkley looks like a Hall of Fame running back with the Philadelphia Eagles. And maybe their offensive line is that much better than the Giants' offensive line ever was. I don't know. But they are using him in a way that he is a factor in games that he never was with the Giants, even at his best. Even when Daniel Jones was Danny Dimes as a rookie, all right, Saquon was not this Saquon. So the question for the New York Giants, and if I'm running the New York Giants, I'm asking this question: what is it about the Philadelphia Eagles and their coaching staff and their developmental process and their scouting that they're doing that has made Saquon look this good when he never did that as a Giant? And for that reason, head should roll. And don't tell me it's the quarterback. Don't tell me it's the offensive line. It's the scheming. How many times during this postseason alone, because I didn't watch him much during the regular season, has he made plays where he looked like he went someplace that defense had no idea he was going to be? The opening play this past weekend against Washington, the opening play was a 60-yard touchdown run. All right. He gained the edge, and he was gone. And it wasn't a blocking thing. It was a scheme thing. It was like Washington had no idea where he was going to run. All right. So what the Philadelphia Eagles, as much as I hate to say it, what they've been able to do is utilize Saquon Barkley in a way that the Giants weren't able to, which is a gigantic fail for the New York Football Giants. And for that reason, I believe head should roll for the Giants. Not because Saquon made the Super Bowl. Right? The Eagles are really an outstanding team. There's no weaknesses on that team. But because they figured out something with Saquon that the Giants, for all the years they had him, never did. And that is my feelings about Saquon Barkley. But we'll talk more about the Super Bowl next week. We'll do a special Super Bowl preview edition of The Latest Spin, or What in the World of The Latest Spin. For now, that's it for this week. I hope everyone's had a wonderful week. We're going to have a better one next week. And since our roster spots are filling, since we're close to closing out some of our tours, all right, just remember, there's only one way to do all this, one way for the coolest experience you're ever going to have. Go to studentathleteworld.com, complete your application, interview with me, and pack your bags. We'll see everyone next week. Good night, everybody.